When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape.
To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
And welcome everybody here to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iowani is out ill today, so we have Jason Pohl directing the show, kind of like old times where Jason used to be our regular director here on the Sports Desk. Ed, we bring you in, and nice to have Jay here.
No, you know what? It certainly is. He's a jack of all trades, and I was trying to remember, that's how long Alden Iowani has been the director of the show, producer. And it is great to have Jay. Always great to have Josh Brown. All the guys here, they do a great job in studio. So definitely great to have Jay Pohl today.
And we got Adam Deal here, who normally points at our polls when we're going over them, but he just walked by. So, you know, he is in the studio as well. And, you know, we're going to talk a lot of things, a lot of stuff going on with high school, Super Bowl just finishing in the NFL, and, of course, the Lobos. When this airs, it'll be after the Boise State game, but we'll kind of get you up to speed on what's happened lately with the New Mexico Lobos. And I'll tell you what, that game got a lot of rave reviews and a lot of mixed reviews, that game at San Jose State, because they barely won that game. Sam Logwood made his return, and a lot of people saying, well, yeah, that's a big win. Any win on the road's a big win. But at the same time, it was a game that if San Jose State's not as bad as it is, that's a loss.
No question. But, you know, you and I were texting back and forth in the crowd itself. I mean, it lends itself to playing down to that level. Lobo started out on a really nice run.
It sounded like there was nobody there. Literally nobody.
It was, I mean, 500, what they announced, 2,000?
They announced 2,000, and I swear it sounds less than, you pick a high school game that you and I have done, and it was less noisy at that college.
Yeah, there's no way there was 2,000 there. And I thought the Lobos started out really well. Nice run to start the game. And then I think some of the things is, you know, you play to the level of your comp sometimes. But the other thing I got to say is this, and you're not wrong about, you know, former Lobo tweeted out on Saturday night, and I told you I'm not going to mention his name, but he said that might be the worst Division I team he's ever seen, talking about San Jose State. And
I said that also.
You said that too.
I said that also.
You said that too.
He was the validating force. But yeah.
Right. So anyway, I think that one of the things I want to say, though, is remember, this is a Lobo team that's rebuilding. They're very much rebuilding. Now, in the past year, under Steve Alford or Craig Neal, I might say, gosh, you know, that's a win that kind of has a red flag down the way for the Lobos as far as if they can't beat this competition by more, they're going to be in trouble. Any win this year, to me, it's a bonus. Remember the way they started. How are they finishing? They won 8 of 10. I think they're playing very well. Tonight's a very key, and you said this is Tuesday, and this will air Wednesday. So it's a very key game for them at the pit. Boise State blew them out earlier in the season. Since then, now Sam Logwood came back, and he was out for, what, a month or so with the shoulder?
He
and
missed then 6 or 7 games, yeah.
And then Coach Weir said he had to meet some measure variables with the program. He finally did, and that was a big key to him coming back. Ja'Kai Simmons went back to deal with the death in the family. He wasn't available. So they've done more with less. They called themselves the Nasty Nine for a while. Anson O. Jackson got suspended. Vladimir Pinchek had a concussion. So this is, again, remember, anybody that says, and you and I talked about this, I'll take a win over opposed, against a loss. This is a rebuilding team. They're still very much finding their way, and a win is a win, but you mentioned it's not against exactly the best competition in the conference.
Well, you're talking about red flags. Here's the biggest red flag, Ed, and I talk about the three-point shooting after every Lobo game. I talk about it with Bob Brown on his show, The Locker Room, on ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team, and I talk to you about it. I mean, every single game, the Lobos have over 30 attempts. In this particular game, 11 to 35. The good news This San Jose State team was only 3 of 13. That was the worst three-point shooting percentage by an opponent all season long. If they make any of their threes, they win that game.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 of 13 isn't very good shooting, and you're at home. You're more to, the guy that we'll talk about here in a second, too, is Dane Kuiper. I think 1 of 17 on his last threes. But you're right about that. But I always say this, too.
6 on Saturday by itself.
And 2 of them not even close. Yeah. And wide open looks at that. But you always, Dandy Don Meredith had a saying, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. So I don't go by much by ifs. There's a lot of ifs in my life that didn't work out. They still haven't. So it is what it is. And I'll take as a Lobo fan, any win is big. I plan on watching tonight. I would have gone to the game, but I've got a game myself. But you know what? I'm looking forward to how they finish the season. You and I talked about it. I'm going to say this again. Now, you said 20 wins will get you in the NIT, maybe. Now, here's the other question. If they're trending forward and have 17, that still might get them in. That still might get them in because there's that allure of the pit and they're 12,000, 13,000. Now, for some of the NIT appearances under Bliss and under Gary Colson and Richie McKay, the fans didn't really come out. But if this is a team trending forward at the end of the year, I guarantee you'll get 11, 12,000 in there. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that is a very bad trend, we've always talked about, and a lot of people talk about the lack of rebounding with this team. 43-19 was the differential in rebounds. Got hammered on the glass again. San Jose State with 43 rebounds to 19. Now, if that's any other team in the Mountain West, that's a blowout against the Lobos. Coach Weir said that. He was concerned about the minutes Joe Furtstinger is playing, and there's not much choice. There's not much behind him. You remember Vladimir Pinchek unavailable because of the concussion. It's not as if you can throw. Sam Logwood will help with the rebound. You think he would help. He came off the bench on Saturday. I don't know what Coach Weir's plans are going forward. He's obviously probably the Lobos' most athletic player and can rebound in traffic. So they're going to need the rebounding from him. Interesting thing, he had 0. That is interesting. How many minutes did he get? He got, how many minutes does it say minutes here? Where is it? Okay, he got 22 minutes. I got to see that, for me, I'm taking the stat. That's surprising. Yeah, I got to get, I'm showing Sam if I'm the coach, hey, here's the stat sheet. If he's on the court, he should at least be getting 3-4 rebounds. With that athleticism and strength, yeah. I'm looking at the stat sheet, and I'm going to Logwood saying, hey, you know what? I mean, you got 0 rebounds in 22 minutes. But just by, your body, you should get at least 3 or 4 just standing there. Now, part of what's going on here with the 43-19, speaking of just standing there, you look at the Lobos 11 of 35, that's a lot of misses. That's a lot of long rebounds going the other way. No, that's very true. That's very true. So San Jose State, when I saw that number, I'm thinking, number one, I thought New Mexico was going to out-rebound San Jose State, but that differential was pretty bad. Okay, here's the other thing, Scott. Now, this is 2 games in a row where they got kicked on the boards. Kicked against CSU and against San Jose State. Sooner or later, that's going to cost you. And CSU without their 2 top players. Right. And one of them was their top rebounder. Yeah, so that's a bad trend. Now, if they make their shots, 11 3-point makes is pretty good. That's 33 points. So if you do that, but then again, of their 24 makes, 11 were threes. Right. That means 13 2-pointers. They go totally against the grain on what prevailing thought. And, Coach Weir's the first one to say this is the way college basketball is going. But last year, that's not how North Carolina won. That's not how Kansas is winning either. No, you're right. It's not everybody that's doing that. There's still some people going with what people thought was the norm back in the day. So that's a very good point. Not everybody's playing like that. And the big bodies pounding and everything. And I know there's going to be big bodies, we're thinking, next year. So that'll be better. But this year, there's no big bodies. There could be a lot of smoke and mirrors. We don't know. Certainly sounds promising, right? Certainly sounds promising. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. In the standings, this is going into Tuesday, obviously. The standings, Nevada at 9-1, Boise State 9-2, New Mexico 7-4. You got Wyoming 6-4, Fresno State 6-5, Utah State 6-5, UNLV 5-5. You got San Diego State also 5-5, Colorado State 3-9, Air Force 2-7, and San Jose State 0-11 as they had another close loss on their home court, but very bad team. So, and they've also lost 11 straight. But you look at the teams in the upper echelon of the Mountain West, Ed, one of the things that kind of struck me when I printed out this standing sheet is the Lobos are, and they might be
after this show airs, or when this show airs tomorrow, they could be one game under 500. They're the only team that has a winning record in the Mountain West that has only a 500 record and not above.
That's interesting. That's interesting again, though.
Because I thought that there were a couple other teams like Wyoming, maybe, that were the same way. But no, the Lobos are at 12-12 coming into the Boise State game.
That's a key game for them. It really is, and they're playing it here. And so I think, again, we'll have to see what happens. But I'm looking forward if they can compete and beat this team somehow tonight. Tuesday night again. The show will air Wednesday. That, I think, vaults them into another kind of category in the conference. I really do. But
when people say, oh, what a turnaround the Lobos have had, is it really a turnaround? The biggest turnaround to me is shots are going down. If shots go down and you're giving them open threes, they're going to burn you if they make them.
And just think if Dane Kuiper starts hitting his, how much better
a lot of people are saying that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ed, because he's kind of that hidden factor. Once he starts heating up, maybe he'll get back to where he was before.
He's lost his confidence, and he needs to get it back, hopefully starting Tuesday night.
We will take a break here. We'll come back with more here on the Sports Desk. But first, the Dreamstyle Top 10 Plays of the Week.
The breaks and a beautiful dish to Asbas, and she beats them.
That's some space. Throw it to him.
Oyeku.
Go.
He's got to go quick. One to play. He's got to let it fire. And Arroyo steps up and blocks it to end the game.
Mon with a steal. Rivas thought about the three ball there. Oh, and what a pass. What a pass by Maya Rivas. Phillips, a hand out to Munn, and he puts it down. Munn's going to go on the baseline, and he's going to throw it. Look at this. Here comes Munn. Showtime!
For the rebound.
Oh, there
Hits
we
it
go.
ahead. Here comes.
There it is. Throw it down, big fella. Throw it down.
One time, Jordan.
Sam Molina, number 11, is also checked in for 3. And here comes Munn. Put it down. Watch this again, Steve. Jalen Munn. That was a great shot right there. Wheeling in. Pump fake. Castillo. Get it out. Arroyo with a block, and it's a 3-on-1 the other way. Alley-oop. Put it down.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Christy May's restaurant is locally owned and operated with a family-friendly atmosphere. Their array of homemade comfort food is just like your mom's. From homemade chicken pot pie to their famous chicken salad on a croissant, Christy May's even offers lunch catering. Christy May's restaurant is located at 1400 San Pedro Drive Northeast. They offer drive-in, carry-out, and catering. Open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez. We have Jason Poole as our director today. Alden Iowani hopefully will be back next week. He's a little under the weather this week. Once again, as we air this show, this is Wednesday. We tape it on Tuesday. During the off months and during football season, we actually air it the same day, but not so much this week. So we got that Lobo game. Before we go on to the high school, Mark, Ed, I wanted to get your opinion on just who you think, as this show airs tomorrow, will be talked about as the winner. And what do you think about the way the Lobos are playing?
Well, as far as the Lobo men's team, I said they've been on a good roll the last. And the thing is, if you think about the role they've been on, and it's been around some adversity. Sam Logwood, the shoulder, and then having to meet some measured variables by Coach Weir. Troy Simons was suspended for 2 games by the conference. Coach Weir said 5 more. Antono Jackson got suspended for 1 game. Vladimir Pinchek out with a concussion. So they've done it around some adversity, and they've still kept it together. They did lose a game on the road a couple weeks ago, but even that game with, 8 scholarship players, 7 scholarship, 6 scholarship players,
right,
and walk-on Mike Mondragon, they still had a chance to win. So I think with the momentum that they've established, here's the other thing, the important thing is that people are starting to believe in Coach Weir and his program, starting to believe. Yeah. Now, I think that, again, this team has shown so much heart. They don't have the greatest talent. They don't. He's still building. Some of these guys, Chris McNeil is still, I think, finding his way from junior college ball. Same thing with Troy Simons. They're used to being the man where they played at. So They have to understand how division basketball, Malach, or I might have Malach. Malawach.
Yeah.
Malawach has gone through some adjustments on the fly. I think he's going to be a very good player. I really do. So I think all things considered, all the factors that I mentioned, the injuries, a little bit of controversy because Jeff Grammer, journal writer Jeff Grammer, will always ask Coach Weir, what's going on with this guy? And Coach Weir plays it close to the vest.
Right.
He doesn't say much. He didn't say why Antono Jackson got suspended. That's been, supposedly an altercation at practice. Didn't say who was with. So I think all the things considered, that they played with 9, they played with 7. They've had Logwood, arguably their best player, their best athlete, right? No doubt their best athlete. He hasn't played really the last 6 games he played Saturday. So I think all things considered and all the things that have been around the team, I think they're playing pretty well. But you know what? Tomorrow night or tonight, Tuesday, this will air Wednesday. We'll have to see if they take care of business at home. Dave Bliss would call this a pit game. Is tonight a pit game? Do the fans come out? How many fans come out on Tuesday night? They've been getting 11.
Right.
Do they get 12 or 13 tonight? They won't get 15. But do 11 or 12 come out, and are they at full throat tonight?
You mentioned Antono Jackson. It's a good thing that he made the trip to San Jose because he was the leading scorer with 17 points. One of the things that Bob Brown and I and Mike Burt at 1017 The Team have gotten into a conversation about is the talk about, hey, this team's going to be really, really good next year, and they're going to have this, they're going to have that. They lose a lot of their scoring from this year, so now the big question mark next year with the untested guys, some guys transferred in from Division I schools, who's going to be the guy? And who's going to know the system? You got 2 guys who are sitting on the end of the bench now who are learning the system, and it reminds me of the Drew Gordon transfer year when he came in second semester, and he was by far the best player in practice each and every game, or each and every day, I should say, and it was just a matter of, wow, can't wait to see this guy on the court, and you kind of get it, the sense that that's what it is right now with the 2 guys that are there, but all these new guys, it's almost going to be like Coach Weir starting over.
I think that's a good point because, Antono Jackson has scored a lot this year. Joe Furtstinger.
And by the way, the other teams are getting better too in the Mountain West.
No, it's true. That's all true. They're going to have good recruits coming in, 5-star, not 5-star, but 4-star,
UNLV
3-star guys.
5-star, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But the question there, UNLV is always Marvin Menzies. I mean,
Right.
I like Marvin Menzies. He did a great job at New Mexico State. But
Well, it's Coach Rice before that, so I mean, they always get the players in, but they don't seem to have the coach to rein in those players. Which, and I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No, it's
Ed,
right.
from and I want you to finish your thought, but that brings up another thing. With the 4 or 5-star players, what the Lobos are finally getting, which they're not traditionally getting 4 or 5 stars, they're getting these guys that they turn into players. What's the chance of that happening here, where you have all these big name players? Some people can call them malcontents. A couple of players that have been to a couple of schools. You got one player who has been to 3 schools in 3 years, which is almost unheard of.
That's a good question. And you and I talked about him. We mentioned former Lobo Isaiah Rusher. And Isaiah Rusher came in with unbelievable skills and talent. I talked to former Lobo Greg Brown, and he used to go out to the practices and watch Isaiah Rusher just slam over everybody. But, he just never had the team attitude or team concept. Within a team, it was always yelling at people and confronting people, wanting to fight people.
Yeah.
So, he never turned into anything. Now, Carlton Braggs has been at Kansas and at Arizona State. And I kind of wondered what happened at Arizona State, because they really didn't say, just said he left school. Something happened there. He left Kansas and Arizona State. And again, he comes in with, the talent, right? He went to Kansas, averaged 5 points, I believe, as a freshman. And the difference between him and Isaiah Rusher is he actually played on the floor.
Right.
Now, can they rein that all in within the team system as he put those personal things behind him? Those are all questions to be answered next year. Meanwhile, the Lobos still have some good basketball to be played in front of them this year.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with the Lobos. We'll finish this segment off before we get into the high school. Let's talk about the Super Bowl.
You know what?
Great game,
You know what? I watched every single minute, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. You know that, a fanatic. I wouldn't even say I'm a fan. I'm a fanatic Dallas Cowboy fan. And I got to say this about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a division rival, but you got to give them credit. Nick Foles, they lost Carson Wentz. Jason Peters, the left tackle. Darren Sproles, the scat back out of the backfield. You would think Carson Wentz's injury was enough to derail the season. Nick Foles comes in and plays absolutely fantastic. The defense got some pressure on Tom Brady at the last possession where they needed to, because when Brady gets the ball back, you're probably thinking they left too much time on the clock. He's going to win again. So I'll tell you what, this pains me to say this. Going forward, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be heck to deal with for the next several years. And they won a champion. Give them credit. They beat the champion. And on the flip side of that, it's just beginning of the end of the New England Patriots. You have to ask that. People are going to go crazy. Oh no, they'll be back.
Well, they lost their defensive coordinator, which I thought he was never going to leave.
Well, you know what? And people will say, well, the defense gave up too many yards. They've never had that superstar player. And then the controversy of benching cornerback Malcolm Butler. Now, I don't know how much difference he would have made. And everybody can go back and say, would you distrust Bill Belichick after he won 5? Now, if they win that, no one says a word. But they lose, and now it's, why'd you bench Malcolm Butler? So you can't win for losing, but I got to say this. It pains me to say it again. I'm a Cowboys fan. Give the Philadelphia Eagles all the credit in the world. It worries me that they could be on top of that division and on top of the league for several more years.
I'm watching the game, and people are asking, who do you think is going to win? I said, or who do you want to win? I said, I don't care who wins. I'm hoping for a close game. And that was a great game. No defense, but it was a great game.
Came down to the last possession. Last possession, man. And one last thing I'll say before the segment ends. Tom Brady, remember, he's 41 and 40. I get it. He's in the greatest shape. But look, it doesn't matter how many avocados you eat or stretches you do. You're still 41. That's the bottom line.
He's our resident nutritionist, Ed Nunez. I'm Scott Galetti. We'll take a break and come back with more on the Sports Desk.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez. Jason Poole, our director, here today. Hopefully Alden Iowani will be back and healthy for next week. I'll tell you what, the sickness is going on around this town and around the nation is pretty bad.
Well, some schools have been closed down because of it, and it's a scary thing. It really is, especially for the elderly. It's really you know, again, people took shots. It's just a bad strain, they say, of this flu, and so far, thank gosh, I haven't you know, contracted anything like that. But I've had some friends that you know, their moms got sick, and it's scary as the you know, people get older that you know, it took one of my friends' mother at least a month and a half, and she's still coming out of it.
Right.
So just, you know, you know, they're showing on Good Morning America today how to wash your hands and the whole thing. You know, keep things sanitized as much as you can to prevent you know, that spreading of the germs.
It's the worst that I've ever had it in my lifetime. So,
yeah,
and I got a flu shot. So
yeah, you had it for about, gosh, your voice is just getting back to the octave level that it was.
Little over a month. So,
yeah.
So having said that, it's amazing that we haven't had a lot of teams go through the flu bug and missing their star players and whatnot. Because in past seasons, around this time, even when we're healthy, there have been kids that have gotten the flu and had to sit out. Luckily, knock on wood, we haven't seen so much of that this year.
And, you know, there probably is. It just hasn't been, you know, there's a player here and there missed practice or missed a game.
Right.
But not, you know, you're right. With the flu, you know, bug that we're seeing, gosh, a couple of schools I think have been closed down because I think East Mountain High School was closed, middle school, one of them was closed down, the whole school, because teachers and staff, there's so many of them sick that they had to close the whole school for a while. So it's scary,
yeah.
And yeah, hopefully everybody's taking care, you know, to wash their hands, do whatever they got to do.
Let's take a look at this week's coaches polls, and we'll start with the girls on 3A. Still with Texaco at number 1, Tucumcari number 2, Tehachapi, Eunice, and Tularosa round out the top 5.
I'm guessing Tucumcari must have lost one.
Yeah, well, they've got one loss on the year according to the record. Let me see. They are 22-1.
Okay, because
I don't know how they dropped.
They were undefeated.
Oh, they were undefeated.
They were undefeated, so that's why.
They lost one.
They lost one last week, so finally the Rattlers.
Yeah, because I said Texaco again, but I'm thinking boys. Boys have been in there every week as number 1, and they still are. But this week, you are right, Ed. The girls, they were number 2 last week, and they jumped Tucumcari.
So finally, the Rattlers go down, and they taste defeat for the first time this season. And the Texaco Wolverines, I'm telling you, they're always around the number 1 spot anyway. So, and you know, again, district play and the state tournament just around the corner. We'll have to see how that all plays out.
Let's go to 4A on the girls' side now, and you got Portales still at number 1, Robertson number 2, Moriarty, Shiprock, and Powake. They round out the top 5. And a school at number 9, I had to go to their gym. I had an opportunity to go to their gym for the first time ever last night, and that thing looks like an NBA arena.
Yeah, you sent me some pictures of Santa Fe Indian School, and gosh, what a gorgeous gym. It kind of reminded me of Santa Fe Demons, you know, with the sunken-in pit sort of. But, man, the floor and...
But they have arena seats in it.
Oh, man.
Except for the upper deck bleachers, they've got all arena seats.
That was so nice. That really was one of the nicest gymnasiums. You thought one of the nicest. You've been around a lot of gyms
it's the
in New
nicest
Mexico.
high school, outside of Mater Dei High School, that is the nicest high school gym I'd say I've been to. And I know there's others, and I've been at bigger gyms than that, but not with the complete stadiums, you know, the arena seating like that. That's what I was joking with people because it is as big, if not bigger, and kind of laid out the same way as the Jenny Craig Center at the University of San Diego, which I've been to many times with the Lobos. I think Santa Fe Indian School's gym is actually bigger than that. Which
wow.
is amazing for a small school in New Mexico to have a building like that.
Yes, it is. And I remember when I looked at those pictures last night, Santa Fe Indian School Braves, man, that was really a nice place that they play at, for sure.
Let's go to 5A now in girls pole, and Las Lunas still number 1, followed by Bloomfield, Kirtland, Gallup, St. Pius. You got Artesia. They've been jumping back and forth between 4 and 6. They're a dangerous team, and you know, you got all sorts of dangerous teams here in this division.
Well, Bloomfield and Las Lunas have been number 1 and 2, I think, for almost a month now, and they played each other, and I think split, or Las Lunas has 2 wins, and Bloomfield has 1. So, yeah, that Las Lunas and Marty Zellner, what a job he does out there, and they're still the class, they're number 1 in that class right now.
And we'll go to 6A now, and 6A, no surprise with West Mesa still number 1. What is a surprise, though, Las Cruces fell from number 2 all the way down to number 5. Cibola back to where I think they should be is number 2, although Las Cruces is a very good team. You got Hobbs as number 3, Carlsbad number 4, Rio Rancho lurking around at number 6, El Dorado number 7. You can go all the way down the list. Highland got blown out by West Mesa last week, but they're still a very good team.
Well, they're missing 2 of their starters, I believe. Natayanza Crispin and Brooklyn Crawford were missing, but you know the way that West Mesa plays and the way they spread that floor, when they go into their weave, you know what? If you're guarding them one-on-one, they break you down, and then if they either shoot the layup or they kick it back out for a 3. Very high IQ, basketball IQs. So they're going to be a tough out. There's no doubt about it. There was an article in the Journal about Rich Harbin and El Dorado. I told you to keep an eye on them. Several of their losses have been very close. And I think the girls are getting used at El Dorado, used to the way, and one of the girls said it, yeah, Coach Harbin holds us accountable. And I know Coach Harbin very well, and I know that he does do that, and that does make a difference. I'll tell you some people don't want to be held accountable, though, and that kind of coaching back when you and I were kind of playing and you were held accountable for every little thing, that kind of coaching's kind of, not as prevalent anymore. It's kind of changed. But they said that about Coach Harbin, and El Dorado's climbing in the polls, so keep an eye on them. Highland with 2 injuries, but one of the people we mentioned her last week was Kaylee Crawford. Kaylee Crawford, wow, freshman, man, she's playing so well for them, but I don't know if they have enough firepower to really challenge West Mesa in that district. They've already been swept, so I don't know.
And you were mentioning West Mesa, the way they run the offense. It's almost a cross between the Princeton offense and the Dean Smith 4-corner. And they do kind of both aspects of that very, very well.
God, that 4 corners, man. They put that shot clock. People wouldn't remember that. You mentioned that now. It's when Phil Ford and, guys played at Mitch Kupchak.
But you think about it, there is no shot clock. So, in essence, they can run the 4 corners.
They can do that.
Sometimes they do.
They can.
Sometimes they're looking for the great shots. Sometimes they're just holding off the ball. Like the Metro Championship, they were milking clock against Cibola and made it look like one of those, Princeton offense in the backdoor cut, but in essence, they were milking a couple of minutes at a time off the clock.
Limiting possessions for the other team.
Exactly.
And you know what? They're very effective at it, very effective.
They're the best I've seen in this state.
Right.
Maybe on the boys and girls side, although Las Cruces is very, very good at doing that also.
They don't have quite as many ball handlers as West Mesa does, but...
No, I'm talking to the boys.
Yes.
The Las Cruces boys might be the equivalent of, milking milking the clock. And, you know, when they're in the groove, Albuquerque High can do that on the boys' side also.
The problem with them sometimes, the Albuquerque High boys, is they're undisciplined. They do that, and then they make a poor pass, and they're good, but they just don't have. They lack the discipline that, of course, the West Mesa girls. You know, when you have 4 ball handlers out there, 4 in and 1 out, geez, that's really hard to beat.
We will take a quick break. We'll talk boys hoops in just a moment on the Sports Desk.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean. Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet. I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
Hoops NM Basketball Center is coming soon. 10 full courts broken into 2 wings for ultimate basketball and volleyball play. Locker rooms, a lounge area, a pro shop, and a full snack bar will all be a part of a great experience. Convenient parking and access will make the Hoops NM Basketball Center a premier facility for league play and competitive regional tournaments. With over 9,000 square feet, Hoops NM Basketball Center will take court sports play to another level in our community. Courts are regulation high school size with wood floors and seating for approximately 350 per court. Major sponsors and supporters are being assembled now. If you're interested, contact Dan Serrano at 505-249-7994. Send him an email, hoopsnm@aol.com. That's hoopsnm@aol.com. Hoops NM Basketball Center, a premier sports facility serving our community.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez. Jason Poole, our director today, and we are going to segue into boys basketball. We're going to do the 3A poll on boys. Now there's Texaco. This is the Texaco team I was talking about before that's been in the top of their division for about the last 6-7 weeks.
Yes, they have, and I'm looking at all the standings as far as 1 to 10, and Pecos under Ira Harge. You know, they won last year, and they're at number 3, and Ira Harge, of course, the former announcer for Proview Networks, a former St. Pius star. His father, the former ABA star. So Ira Harge, his name here, as far as his dad playing for the Lobos, that still carries a lot of memories, a lot of weight. And Ira, you know, again, they won. Pecos won their first championship, and I believe in 54 years last year when they won. And so at number 3, they're right there within striking distance. Estancia and Texaco at number 2 and number 1, respectively.
Sometimes the lower divisions, especially, you wonder about the records. That's why I don't put up the records for basketball, but we do have the record. And Texaco going into this week's play, 22-0. Pecos 19-3. Estancia 20-1.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Man. So that's really closely, very close there, and some excellent records there. And you wonder, those teams again chasing each other. And the margin for error is slim, so you wonder, gosh, when they play each other, they think so much is on the line. It is, but there's still, you can't put all your eggs in one competitive basket. You have to, because there's this district playoffs and the state tournament, and sometimes, you feel like, oh, we got to beat these guys because they're the defending champs, and if you lose it, it's not over. But mentally, wow, that's some great records by those teams.
Well, the other team that we never talk about, and that's Cuba. They're 18-4.
Yes, and at number 5. And I believe they had a fine season last year as well, so they've followed up on that with another good season. 18-4 is pretty solid.
Newcomb is 16-7. Santa Rosa only 14-6, but that is traditionally an outstanding school in pretty much every sport.
No, you're especially, gosh, football. They did real well, I believe, didn't they? I think
yeah,
they did pretty well. And when they, I remember one game when I when I was an official. And they played against, I can't remember who they played against at West Mesa's gym. Santa Rosa bought the whole, I still remember that. Sometimes those smaller school games were the best.
Yep.
And a lot of officials were clamoring for 5A and 6A. And I'm telling you, sometimes those 2A and 3A games were the most exciting, honest to God, really.
4A now on the boys' side has Bernalillo still at number 1. They come in at 22-1 entering the week. Silver jumped Hope Christian again. 2 weeks ago it was Silver number 2 and Hope was number 3. Last week it was Hope number 2, Silver number 3, and now it's back to Silver, who by the way is 18-4. Hope Christian 15-7 along with Moriarty 15-7. Portales at 12-9, and the other 2 teams with 13 or more wins. Taos 13-10, Ruidoso 13-9. You got Shiprock 14-18. So they have 14 wins, but they have a lot of losses.
Gosh, they played 32 games.
Well,
is that 14
I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is.
That can't be right. You wouldn't think.
See, there's an example of I don't know if that's right or not.
I mean,
but the others seem pretty.
Yeah, because Bernalillo's played.
Might be 4-18.
Okay, yeah, because 14.
My guess is it's 4-18. Because
even that though, they're number 10. Wow,
yeah.
that's kind of.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, but one team I wanted.
Or it could be 14-8. We don't know. We're playing a guessing game now. So.
Right. Yeah, 4-18. I wouldn't think they'd be number 10 with that record, but who knows? Like you said. But you mentioned Bernalillo at 22-1. Hope Christian was 7-7, and they're 15-7 now, or 14-7.
15.
Okay, so they've reeled off 8 straight quietly.
And they dropped down from number 2 to number 3.
Silver must be playing some really good basketball.
Well, Silver 18-4, so I guess some of the coaches going by the record alone.
Believe me, until the Huskies, the Dragon is slayed, people are still looking over their shoulders for the Hope Huskies. They've won 15 championships. So, people now, Terry Darnell has had Bernalillo playing very well all year, but I guarantee you he's got hope in the back of his mind. The Huskies gave him a pretty good beating in the first round of the playoffs last year.
5A sees Espanola still number 1, followed by Los Lunas, Capital, Belen, and Roswell. You got entering the week Espanola Valley 21-1. Los Lunas 18-4. Capital 18-4. Berlin 17-6. And Roswell 17-6. And Berlin, one of those teams that continues, Ed, just to kind of win under the radar.
They're dangerous. Those teams there that win under the radar, you got kind of a half an eye on them. Look at where Capital's at, too. They've had some good games against Espanola Valley, again, under James Branch. He's done a great job there with Espanola Valley. They've only lost one, and that was to Rio Rancho. They beat Rio Rancho earlier in the year, and the Rams got them later. But one loss is pretty good for the Sun Devils up there in Espanola. But you're right about Berlin. Pius has had some good wins and some tough losses. I think they play Los Lunas Friday, and that's going to be one key matchup there. That really is.
Yeah, that's going to be the MeTV game of the week, and you'll have entering the week 13-7 St. Pius against 18-4 Los Lunas. I would make Los Lunas the heavy favorite, but you never know with St. Pius.
Is that at Pius or Los Lunas?
It's at Los Lunas.
Well, one thing about both coaches, and I know them both very well, Damian Segura is going to run 1,000 sets. Travis Julian's going to run 100. There was so much energy between the both of them. Volatile coaches, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean volatile. They fight for their teams. So involved. Both of them, after the game, I don't know how many calories they work off together.
Right.
Gosh, I mean, I've sat right there when they coached against each other, and they go at it. I mean, not with each other, with the teams. They want to compete. And neither one wants to get the leg off there. It's a chess match, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. It really is, because they're both excellent coaches. Julian coaching at Monzano, and Damian Segura seems like he's been at. Remember, Damian Segura has won 4 championships. Seems like he's been at St. Pius forever. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. I think it was Wally Salata, the last coach at St. Pius before Damian Segura, and that's how long ago that was.
Wow,
that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago.
Now, I don't know if you already had this or not, but I think if you didn't have it, we're going to stick with this. Damian Segura, the man of 1,000 sets. That'll be his new nickname. The man of 1,000 sets.
Travis Julian said this at the state tournament.
Could be a man of 1,000 suits, too, because
he's got a bunch of those.
He's got a bunch of nice-looking suits, too.
He's got a bunch of those, and Travis Julian had said that. That's why I remember reading that a couple years ago. He goes, when you play Pius, Damian Segura is going to run 1,000 sets. Yeah. Maybe not 1,000.
Right.
But he's got what? Coach Segura likes to kind of call plays, and I remember a lot of them because my son coached there. I remember a whole bunch of them. And, he kind of, he does that, and he's been successful with it. Last couple of years, I don't know that he had the talent. But this year, they've been playing very well. And once he hasn't been to the pit in a couple of years, which is unusual for a Pius team.
Right.
And
that's a good point.
It is.
That's a good point.
It's very unusual. And Coach Segura, I know that, he's a very humble guy. He knows they have to finish. That game against Los Lunas, they probably play tonight against somebody. But, you can't look ahead. It's hard not to. But you got to finish business, in front of you first.
6A now. And in 6A, you got a team that's still undefeated. Coming into the week, 22-0. That's Las Cruces. Followed by El Dorado at 18-2. Trisco moving up to number 3 at 18-2. Cleveland up to number 4, 16-7. Volcano Vista dropping to number 5 at 14-6.
They've had a couple of tough, close losses. Cleveland finally getting their signature win by really taking it to Rio Rancho last Friday night. And we had talked about that. They'd been close in some games. Jalen Munn, Phillips, Taylor Turner, Amir Mohammed, the kid, the Trey Watson, the freshman. They've got a good team. And they finally put it all together. I think they scored 108 against Rio Rancho.
Right.
And, it's hard, it's unusual for Albuquerque teams to go over 100. It doesn't happen that much. They put up 108. So they were on all cylinders, and I think finally Cleveland head coach Sean Jimenez can say, did you buy into what I've been telling you? In close games, sometimes it comes down to, to a missed free throw, a loose ball here and there, a foul, a call that went against you. And they finally got everything going for them on Friday night. You did that game.
Well, they won that game on Thursday against Volcano Vista, and before Friday night's game, Coach Jimenez said to me, hey, we finally turned the corner on winning a close game. It was all in the kids' heads. Now they're over it. And the way they played against Rio Rancho, it was a layup clinic. In fact, it got to the point where Brian O'Neill's yelling into the mic about the lack of defense, which he normally doesn't do. So, Cleveland was doing something right. Rio Rancho was doing something wrong, and ended up being a 30-point-plus blowout.
But I think that the Storm has the kind of talent that can happen. once their guys get out on the perimeter, and you saw a couple of slam dunks as well. You know, once you get guys going to the rim and they're on clicking on all cylinders, you can have the Storm do that. They could blow people out. They've lost the close games, but they've got a very talented roster.
A couple of teams that need mentioning: Valley moving up to number 6, and Valley entering the week at 12-8. La Cueva number 7 at 13-7. Very dangerous team as well.
Well, we had Coach Castillo here last week, and Coach Castillo was very humble. You know, he felt that Taylor, Derek, and Tyler Isles were very good twosome for his team, and Calius is also. He reminds me of Lonzo Ball, the way he holds the ball and shoots. So once that team gets going, they're very good. They've lost some close ones at the end. You know, I was kind of surprised to see Albuquerque at number 9. They've got more talent than a number 9. They really do. And, they lost a tough game against Atrisco. That was a tough loss. But the Bulldogs may make a surge here at the end of the year. They do have a lot of talent on that team.
Now, as we close out the show here, we got a few more minutes, I believe, left in the show. On my way to the game last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, it wasn't even last week, it was 2 weeks ago, going out to La Cueva. What do you think I saw before the game?
On the way to La Cueva?
They were practicing baseball.
Oh, man. You know what, Coach Murphy from Rio Rancho.
Baseball's starting up here quick.
Right. And you know what?
Baseball and softball.
The weather that Albuquerque's been experiencing, and March is heck for winds. You know that, and it's not March yet; it's February, and April is hard with winds too.
Right.
But Coach Murphy posted that. Coach Rodney Murphy from Rio Rancho about baseball, and Richard Tripp after the Super Bowl said pitchers and catchers time to report.
Right.
So in Albuquerque right now with the weather, gosh, you imagine it's like spring, really true spring training.
It has been
without
like
the wind, because that wind in Albuquerque can wreak havoc. You know that.
Right.
So when you mention baseball, it's like, oh my goodness, man! I can't believe we say this every year that it's almost time for the seeding and selection, and baseball's around the corner, and football went fast, and now look how fast basketball's going.
So when you look at boys, we'll go to in 6A. You got Las Cruces number 1. Can they run the table?
You'd say no. I'd say no, because something happens. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody has a better night than you. Usually no. And Coach Castillo said
but they only have a few more games in district. And then after that, it's lose and go home.
Right. Coach Castillo said it had been many years since someone's run the table.
Mm-hmm. On the 6A, 5A front, the bigger school front, it's been a long time.
I'll say the odds say no.
Yeah.
But Coach Benjamin, man, he's got them playing really, really well. And you know what? Will's, and I say this with much affection because Coach Benjamin's one heck of a nice guy. Will's got a little chip, man. He's got a little chip when he comes down here with the Bulldogs. He wants people to know, hey, we play some good ball down there. He pretty much has his team takes on the personality of the coach. And as an Aggie, he's one of the better Aggies there ever was.
No disrespect to Atrisco Heritage at 18-2 because I think they have an excellent team. But after Las Cruces, after seeing the effort that Cleveland had against Rio Rancho, I would put them at number 2 if I had a vote.
Cleveland?
Cleveland. I think Cleveland is playing the way that we thought they were going to play at the beginning of the year. They play like this, they can beat pretty much anybody.
I don't think you're wrong there, but does one win vault them over what Atrisco Heritage has done pretty much the whole year? They've been pretty consistent.
Right.
So I would kind of, that Josiah Ramos kid has been really, really big beyond. Jordan Arroyo. They've got a very, very Diego.
Oh, I love that team.
Diego
That's
Ortega.
why I'm saying no disrespect because I've seen about 4 or 5 of their games already, and they are excellent.
Now that Ramos kid, I mean, he's a sophomore and he's their leading scorer. So that's a really good team, and I don't know where they're going to end up. But then Arroyo is a junior. He's a senior. He's supposed to be a junior. So his best basketball could be yet to be played.
And, of course, one of the biggest question marks because you see them one game and they're coming from behind and they're winning the big game, and next time around they're getting beat, and that's Albuquerque High. They're kind of a mystery.
To everybody. I think to Albuquerque High head coach Ron Garcia, who's been around the game for many, many years. And, he's had a lot of great wins. And, his son, Victor Garcia, his chief assistant, they've been together for many years. And I think Albuquerque High, with the talent they have, Cunningham, I'm going to say this. I don't know that I've seen him progress. I told you this the other night. There were some moves I thought he didn't power up the other night. And you know what, though? give credit to Jordan Arroyo. That was great defense by Arroyo. But I'm looking at Cunningham as a senior, and at least for me, I expected a little bit more. You know, he's still a very good player. He's going to have a good college scholarship somewhere. But I think as the Bulldogs go, he's got to bring a little bit more. And, you know, let's see if they will. But I think when you say that Albuquerque High drives you crazy, how do you think Ron Garcia feels?
And one team that all you got to do is mention 2 words, Joe Coleman. Valley at number 6, they're a dangerous team.
Joe Coleman is amazing. He's amazing. He gets so much with the best talent in the district. If you look at Anthony Chavez is their best player for sure. He's played well. Seguin Oyeku has played well. But outside of those 2 guys there, Oyeku and Anthony Chavez, who Coach Weir wants to come as a preferred walk-on, Coach Coleman manages to get the most, and he's done this for many years, Scott. I've watched him do this. He gets the most out of the talent that he has, and he always has them competing in that district.
Any teams, you got Rio Rancho, Manzano, Oñate, Sandia, Rio Grande, Santa Fe, and Carlsbad in the others category. Any of those teams that kind of intrigue you?
You mentioned El Dorado?
El Dorado's the number 2.
Okay, so who'd you mention? I'm sorry.
Rio Rancho, Manzano, Oñate, Sandia, Rio Grande, Santa Fe, and Carlsbad.
I would say, Rio Rancho for sure. They still have, they lost a lot though. They lost Patterson and they lost Juan Hurt. They still have another Patterson, David Patterson. They have some size, Keyshawn Banks inside, but they did lose.
Not playing Friday was a big factor.
No, you got no rim protection.
And he had 20 points in the game
right.
that Rio Rancho won at home against Cleveland.
Well, you got guys going in, slamming, 2-hand slams. I think a little bit of rim protection, you would miss that. So, I'm going to say Manzano, too, because when they got Eric Sonberg back, they played much better. Mm-hmm. Damian Romero's done a great job there. He might be the coach of the year because the last couple of years, Manzano.
You mentioned that the last couple of weeks, actually, and you said Sonnenberg coming back, and I know he's a
6'7".
He's a difference maker.
Yes, no question. So I think those 2 teams there, Volcano Vista, I wouldn't go to. They're at the top though. But those teams that you mentioned there, Rio Rancho, Manzano, Wally Salata. I love Wally. Wally's a good friend. He's got a state championship under his belt, and I think he's an excellent coach. He's, as we speak now, in between classes because he's got a job to do. I guarantee he's scheming and drawing and diagramming. I know Wally. Right. He never stops. No. So those are 2 teams I think that kind of intrigue me.
Final thoughts, Ed?
Well, it's a heck of another big week for high school basketball. Girls and boys. And I think one of the things, we had Frank Castillo on to talk about the boys side. Maybe sometime down the way we can get a girls coach in here to talk about the girls winningest high school coaches in New Mexico, because I think that's important to give them some attention as well.
We will definitely work on that. Want to thank Jason Pohl, our director, filling in for Alden Iowani. Well, he's not filling in. He's here anyway. So Jason, Josh Brown, they all do a great job here behind the scenes. For Ed Nunez, I'm Scott Galetti. We will see you next week on the Sports Desk here on ProView Comcast 26.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview